Waiting for a game to load is basically the modern equivalent of watching paint dry. But that is where this little stick of silicon comes in. It is the SN770 from the WD Black lineup. And honestly, it is one of those components that just does its job without making a fuss. When you pull it out of the box, it feels like any other M2 drive, just a slim, unassuming piece of tech. But once it is tucked into a motherboard, it starts to show why it has earned such a solid reputation. The speed is the main event here. With red speeds hitting over 5,000 megabytes per second, it makes those massive open-world maps pop up before you can even finish a sip of coffee. It is a Gen 4 drive, which means it is built to handle the kind of data throughput that modern games demand, especially with features like direct storage starting to become more common. What stands out, though, is how it handles the day-to-day grind. Whether it is booting up the system or jumping between heavy applications, the responsiveness is snappy. There is no stuttering or weird lag spikes that sometimes plague cheaper drives when they get a bit full. Now, here is the thing about this drive. It does not come with a dedicated heatsink. That is a bit of a trade-off. If the motherboard has its own thermal shielding, you are golden. But if not, this thing can get a little toasty during long, intense gaming sessions. It is not going to melt down or anything, but it is worth keeping in mind if the airflow in the case is a bit restricted. The software side is handled by the WD Black dashboard, which is a decent enough utility for keeping an eye on health and toggling a gaming mode. It is Windows only, which might annoy some, but for most people, it is just a set-it-and-forget-it kind of tool. It is also backwards compatible with Gen 3 slots, so even if the current rig is a bit older, it will still work, though it will be capped at those slower speeds. It is a smart way to future-proof a build without spending a fortune on the absolute top-tier drives that offer speeds most people will never actually notice in real-world play. It is reliable, it is fast, and it hits that sweet spot where the price per gigabyte actually makes sense for a 2 terabyte capacity. If the goal is to clear out the clutter and get into the action faster, this is a really solid pick that keeps things simple and effective. It is not the flashiest piece of hardware, but it is definitely one of the most dependable upgrades for a gaming setup.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.